Okay, I hit record. So we will get started. I think I'm looking at everyone on the call. I think I know everyone, and everyone might know me, but I'm Jody McComas, and I am under Kyle and Cassie. Kyle's actually my sponsor, and I'm an Emerald ambassador. And in April, I will have been Emerald for 2 years. So I as some of you at times in your business have felt stuck, I've kind of felt there in the last couple of years. So we will actually, I'm going to get into the thought model that I'm learning through my coaching courses. I'm in 2 of them. As a result of this, to help myself move through some things that I personally need to move through, and I want to pass on those things to you guys. But first, I want to start out with you guys putting in the chat just a win that you've had this month. And I know this month isn't over, you guys, because magic can happen in the last few days of the month. We see it all the time. So I know it's not over yet, and I know that you're not done working, and that awesome things are going to happen. But I'd love if you could share in the chat something that you're proud of, a win you've had. It doesn't have to be adding someone. It can be that you went live, that you've shared business posts more than product posts, that you're proud of someone on your team. So put some of those things in there, because we definitely need to celebrate those things every month, especially as we get closer to the end of the month. We really need to celebrate. Quitting your job. Oh my gosh. Yes, that is exciting. And senior silver. That is a big deal. Such a big deal. Kelly, Wholesale Ambassador, co-hosted a messenger event. Yes, and yes, more business posts. Yeah, Terry, I've been so proud of you for posting on the business. It's impressive, and they've been so good. Okay, I love reading these. Allie helped a level 1 have an online event, and she's already signed 2. I also had a new ambassador host an event and have her person go silver. So it's so exciting to see that duplication happen. Steph, 2 people reached out to you. That's like the best thing ever. Signing newbies that you've been chatting with since last summer. Yes, I love it. Timing is big. And everyone has their own timing. You guys, these are so good. 2 level 1s, starting to build a team. Yes to all of this. Great job, you guys. We just cannot overestimate like how important it is to celebrate these things. So the next thing I would love for you to share is, if you have, I call this share the wealth, if you've had something that you felt like worked really well for your team or for you this month, will you share that with us? You can put it in the chat if you want. I think that in the coaching, the peer coaching times that we've had, this is one of the most beneficial things, is to hear what others are doing and think, oh, that one idea could work for me, or I haven't tried that yet. Maybe I'll give that a try. So if there was something, I know the messenger events have been pretty successful lately. I've loved those. They're so simple, definitely worth trying. So anyone have anything new, or just something that you're like, this always works for me? Feel free to share that. Corky, I still didn't get to go watch yours, but I heard it was awesome. So I love that. What did you do your live about? Will you tell us?
Well, I mean, I did one earlier that was about, my health story. That was early on. And then you guys kind of did this, but I was in March Momentum also, and that was part of one of our week's challenges to do that. And that actually worked out really good. It actually triggered a gal who I talked to back in 2017 and then have, kept in touch with, to actually reach out to me and was ready. Like you said, their own timing. And then the one I just did, I think it was yesterday, I just started doing a live about the business, but from a point of dreaming. And I'm not good at that. And so that's kind of what I shared with people. And it's like I was kind of thinking about it, and I thought I should just share that because there's probably other people. And the only thing was is when I watch myself back, that's always bad. But there was a couple times as I was doing it, I'm really emotional, so I cry easy. So sometimes when I'm thinking about things from the past, I am like choking back tears because most people would probably watch and go, "Oh my God, why is this woman crying?" Because I get really sentimental. But it was fine. It was just there. When you know yourself, there's moments you kind of go, "Oh."
I love that. It's so awesome that you were brave and did that, and you're not too emotional. That's a lie that we believe. I say that about myself all the time. And if anyone is on my team, they know that the majority of our team calls, I'm going to cry. So
Yeah,
they just have to show up for it and
it's
love
like
me
the
anyway.
joke in our family. They're all like, I cry in commercials sometimes. That's how bad I am. And they'll look
Oh,
over and
yeah.
they're like, "Is she crying?" So I'm like you, anyone who knows me. So, most people in my feed, if they know me well enough, it wouldn't shock them to have me cry.
Yes, well, I'm there for it. And I always tell people you will never cry alone. So if you need to cry and you know that someone is going to be with you in it, ladies, I'm your woman. You just call me because I will be there for that. And that is okay. We are all made differently and we just need to bring that to the table, which leads me into kind of what I wanted to talk about today because we can compare and right we can watch other people's lives and we're like, oh my gosh, she is so much better at that than I am. Look at them, they've added 4 people, I've added 0. Like, what is happening? I'm doing all the right things. Like we can start to spiral and we can compare and despair, and especially when we're in a group like this. And I know that we're here to cheer one another on, and we are all about that, right? But we can also, that sneaks in. The devil is a sneaky, sneaky thing. And you guys, we cannot let that take root. And after 5.5 years in this business, I will tell you that it is a constant battle that we are going to have. And we have to be so proactive in it. And we have to know, like, okay, how do I want to show up when this happens? When I log in and I see my points and they're not where I want them to be, like, what am I going to do? Because we want we want this journey to not be like this all the time. It's going to have bumps, but we want it to just be like, a slow roll and we know how to move through it emotionally well. And so I think it's okay. Like, we have to acknowledge the feelings that we have when we come to those moments. Um, Trying to discount it or pretend it isn't there, stuffing it, it's not going to help us. And so one of the things that I've been learning in the coaching that I'm in group coaching, and I just hired a one-on-one coach because I have head trash that needs to be worked through. And I need someone one-on-one. And so that is what I'm doing. But the model that they talk about is that our circumstances aren't creating our results. Like we have our circumstances, the thoughts, the feelings, the actions, and then the results. And so we're going to look a little bit at that, but I wanted to share first a picture for you guys because I want us to have, and we've talked about this all the time, long-term vision. Like, I want you all to be here. Like, I have been here 5.5 years. I want you to be here in 5.5 more years. I want to still be in it in 5.5 years. And we have to set up healthy rhythms and healthy patterns in our hearts and our minds to get there. And there's a picture that I always come back to that I love because I am a swimmer. Well, I was a swimmer. I haven't been to the gym in the pool, well, in a year and a half now. So I took this picture one day at the gym. Can you guys see it? My picture of the pool. And what I think of is when we are an athlete, like, there are things that we do outside of the pool or outside of our sport that is meant to train our hearts, our minds, and our bodies. Things like this, trainings we listen to, podcasts, getting coaching, keeping our bodies healthy, right? But once we get in that pool, like, we need to stay in our lane. Like, there are lane lines there, right? Meant to keep us in our lane. And once
Yeah.
we're in the water, oh, I don't know who needs muted. So if you're not muted. Um, so once we're in there, we can't be bobbing around and looking at everyone left and right because it's going to slow us down. Our mind is going to start going and it's probably going to get in the way. We just have to keep our head down, put our goggles on, and do our race. Like swim your race, stay in your lane. Don't compare and despair. And when you do, check it quick, right? Um, and when we do that, like you'll literally run into a lane line, especially if you're doing backstroke. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but it's it really slows you down and it's embarrassing. Um, Also, the other thing is when you get to the end of that, like you're never just swimming one lap in a race when you're a real swimmer. Like you have a length that you're going, it's several laps, which is one thing that I've loved about the success sprints because it's showing us, okay, we have this long period and you map it out and you know, like, okay, I'm going to rest here. I'm going to work really hard here. Um, you kind of know in your mind what that's going to look like, what you do inside and outside of the pool, right? And so I think of when you get to the end of that lap, um, we don't think, oh, that's the end point, that first, just one lap. You think of, okay, we're getting to the end of this month and I am going to go in like strong. And then I'm going to flip turn. And I'm going to push off that wall and I'm going to push into April strong. And so I just always love to come back to this image for me. It's powerful for me, but thinking, okay, swim my race, do my race, do what I need to do outside of the pool, but keep my goggles on. And don't stop 10 feet from the wall and despair that it doesn't look like I thought it was going to look like. Keep going and push off that wall strong into the next month. Um, but also, you know that you have times when you're going to rest, when you're going to get out of the pool, when you need a coach to cheer you on, and to encourage you. So I don't want us to lose sight, like always keeping that vision in mind. I think it was in one of the book clubs that we were doing, I think it was Henry Cloud, and he was talking about how we have to be a lighthouse for our team. And we have to continually be like setting that direction, like be the light in front of them so they know where they should be going too, especially if they're new. But if we get so caught up in the head trash, as I like to keep calling it, it's going to dim our own light and we're not going to be able to project that for them. And I can say for me in the last 6 months, like it has been a struggle. And I'm sure that it has been like a total dimmer for my team, whether I realized it or not, just because of the season that I'm in. And so reminding myself there are things that I can do. Like I want to be in this long term, keep the vision, be the light for your team, keep your why in mind and put your goggles on and swim your race. And it's going to look different than everyone else's, you guys. I sucked at the butterfly stroke, but breaststroke was my jam, right? So we all have our strengths and that is okay. Lean into those. Um, so I want you guys to write something down as a result of this thought model. And it's only a piece of it, but this is the part my coach had me doing last week. And she said, just you need to start doing some like thought dumping. Basically, every morning, just write down what are the thoughts? What are the thoughts I have? And don't be judgmental about them. Just look at them with compassion, like you would a friend, and be like, oh, that is so interesting. Like, be curious and compassionate with yourself. And just look at them, like write them down. Our thoughts are they just happen and we don't even realize they're happening, especially like I'm in my mid 40s, right? A lot of these thoughts have been there for years, so they're not going to go away in 4 days. They're not going to go in 4 weeks. I've been fighting with these for the last 4 years as I've been aware of them. So continually writing them down so we know what they are. So even write down right now, how are you feeling about the end of this month specifically? And some of you may be feeling fantastic, like you've hit all your goals already, and celebrate that. It is so worth celebrating. And some of us were like, oh man, I did not reach that goal. What is that feeling that comes up for you? And then the next question, when you feel that way, how do you respond? Like, what is your natural reaction in that feeling? And you'll probably want to go back to this. And I will put it in our assignment for the week because I think it's just super important. So, what are you feeling? When you feel that way, how do you respond? And then what result does that cause? So, for me, I'll give you an example. If I'm feeling discouraged or frustrated, then it makes me withdraw. It makes me want to hide. It makes me doubt what I'm doing, second guess everything I do, every post, every live. I think, oh, I'll go do that. And I think, oh, no, that's not worth sharing. And then what result does that cause? Well, it means I am not reaching out as often. I'm taking longer to take action, which means my business is not going to be growing at the rate that I want it to, right? And that all started, it can go back to the thoughts and the feelings. So I just think it is so important to acknowledge like what's going on, what are your thoughts, look at it compassionately, and then choose, do I want to sit in this? How is this serving me? Like I finally said this last week, I was like, this is not serving me. So what if we asked, so I want you to reframe the question, how do I want to feel at the end of, and you can, at the end of any month, how do I want to feel at the end of the month? And then if I felt that way, what would my thought be and what would the result be? So how do you want to feel at the end of each month? And if I were feeling that way, what would be my thoughts feeding that? And what result would that create? And I know some of you are in Kristen Boss's coaching and she does this. And for me, it's been helpful to kind of do the middle section and take out some of it just as a starting point. So for me, in my example of that, I want to feel proud at the end of each month and at peace with what I've done, how I've loved my team, how I've loved ambassadors and customers, which if I'm proud and at peace, then I am going to be showing up with confidence. I'm not going to be hiding. I will be not in the hustle mentality. I will be working hard, but not hustling. I will be consistent. I will, I will think, oh, I can do this. I am capable of loving my team well. I'm capable of sharing what I know. So I'll be sending more messages. I'll be connecting with people because I'm not afraid of whatever it is that I think is on the other side of that conversation, right? And that is going to produce growth. So for me, one of the things that's just been the most helpful is like, what do I want to feel? And then I can move backwards from that. So do you guys have any questions on that as you might work for that through that this week? Okay. So again, I will post the activities in the chat, but I just think this step is so crucial. We talk about mindset all the time. We cannot underestimate it. And if you guys know me, I'm not a Pollyanna, put on your positive pants and just like push your way through. Like it doesn't work for me. I actually have to engage with what is really going on and get to the root of it. I can't just like muscle my way through. And I don't think that that is the heart behind this. It's like, no, really get to the root of those things. And if you want to process with somebody during the week, definitely do that. But again, like don't be overly connected to your numbers or even someone else's success on your team, right? We can only control us. And in the jewel call that we had last week, one of the diamonds was just sharing again how common this is. It does not matter your rank, you guys. Every single one of us come into our back office and we can spiral so quickly by seeing a number. And our numbers are just insights. Like take the emotion out of it. And so, like the circumstance would be, well, even in saying, well, I didn't add as many ambassadors as I wanted to. And my coach was like, well, that has feeling in it. That has emotion in it. The circumstance is you ended at this many points, and this is the points that you want. There's no emotion in that. Like those are the facts. And so going in, just knowing that those numbers are insights, they are feedback for us, but don't attach the emotion to them. Let it be kind of just where you're at. And if you have feelings about that, start jotting those down so you can work through it. But decide beforehand what you're going to do with the negative feeling or even the positive ones, you guys, because, like we can get so excited that we've hit a rank and you think, oh, I'm just going to sit back now. I'm just going to coast, right? Like that's going to get us into trouble too. So continually being consistent and knowing that you are not significant based on what the end of the month says. And you just remember, this is my flip turn. I'm going to just push off that wall so confidently, so at peace, knowing that I am in this for the long haul and that next month, my hard work is going to pay off. Like the harvest is coming. We just continually tell ourselves that and keep showing up and celebrate every single win. Because even if you didn't add an ambassador this month, something good happened on your team. I am convinced of it. You kept showing up. You did the live videos. You hosted an event. Those things are worth celebrating, you guys. So do not forget to celebrate your wins and go through this next week, really taking inventory of your thoughts. So I'm going to give you a rundown of what the activities are. I know when I wrote this out, I was like, oh my gosh, those look like a lot of things, but it's not. These are like normal rhythms that we should be doing anyways. So write out your feelings, how you want to feel at the end of next month, the end of the next quarter, and your thoughts on what results will come from that. And then I put on here one of Kristen Boss's podcasts. It is episode 14 called Enoughness. And it is really good. So if you want another thing to listen to as you fold your laundry, do your dishes, whatever, that's when I listen to it. Get ready in the morning. I'm always listening to something. And I know I put this in the chat last time, but if you guys are doing messenger events, having a whole bunch of 2-minute testimonies recorded that you can pull from is so helpful. So if you haven't recorded a 2-minute video, it's really good to do, even just so you clarify, this is my story in 2 to 3 minutes. Do that and encourage your team to do that and then go use them in a messenger event, but record your 2-minute testimony. Of course, wrap up conversations that you're in and help your people do the same. The end of the month checklist, look at credit card declines, less than 100 PV, your perks list, fast start people. I made a huge mistake, you guys, last month, and I did not look at that quick enough, and I had a gal miss fast start silver by 1 day. 1 day. And if we had moved her messenger event just 1 day sooner, she would have hit it. So don't overlook those things. It's important. Check on people who are close to 500 PV and let them know that they could earn a bigger commission. Like sometimes people aren't checking those things and it's a jump in commission. So do that for your team. And do shout outs for your team in chats, team pages, or even on their own page, letting them know that you're proud of them, that you see their hard work, something about them that you appreciate. Last thing, map out your next month. So one of the things that I always do the last week of the month is I look at the next month. As leaders, people with a team, we can't forget, oh yeah, I need a plan. I need to plan for the next month, right? We often will push so hard and you get into April and you're like, oh man, I'm tired. So I'll get to that second week of April. But then it's already the second week of April. So we have to be continually looking forward, like who am I going to coach? Who could hit fast start? Who could I help send their samples out, right? So just be thinking through those things already so that when you hit April, you have a plan. And also put your rest days in there. But if you have a plan, you're going to feel so much better about resting when you do rest. So those are the things that I have. Most of them are very practical. It's what we just do in this business. And honestly, that's the stuff that gets us to where we're going. We just continually be consistent and show up and do the work, you guys. So I am so proud of you guys for showing up. And that was 26 minutes. So we actually have 4 minutes if anyone has any questions or anything that you're dying to share with us that maybe you didn't share with us before. So
Did you say that you're putting some of these things into the chat, Jody?
yes,
The chat here or the chat on Facebook, like the messenger chat?
I'll put it in the messenger chat in the Ruby group.
Okay.
I have it saved in a graphic. So if you go
Okay.
to the photos, you'll see it there because things get lost all the time in the feed.
I'm like, oh no, I haven't checked for 10 minutes and I'm already lost.
I know. Yeah, so it'll be a picture.
Okay. And can you also explain, I feel like I'm still maybe a little green. What is the 500 point value? What is the 500 PV commissions discussion that you were talking about? Can you tell me?
Yep. So anything under $4.99 is 15% commission. But once you hit that 500 PV mark, it goes up to 25%, right? Everyone? Not see, even after 5.5 years, I'm like, but 15% to 25%. And that's a big jump. Like it's worth making another order for almost always.
So in order, like your own PV, like if I order 500 PV worth of product in a month,
it's yours or your customers.
Okay.
Yep.
My
so your customers
not my ambassadors?
No, so your PV is customers and your PV. Those come together for your total PV. And then the ambassadors keep their own PV. But I go through and I'm like, oh, this ambassador is at 481. I just saw one. I'm like, that is worth her placing an order for one more product to get 25% more commission on that.
So Erica, I just checked mine, like, I don't know, it totally shocked me just like a day or so ago, and I was at like 489 and I'm like, whoa. So it makes a big difference to check that because it's a difference between 15% and 25% commissions back is huge, actually.
Yes.
I've hit it several times with like a huge surprise. So anyway, if you're close, it's worth putting the money in for sure.
100%. Also, I know we don't talk about this a lot, but I am a huge advocate for having a big customer base. There are just people that they want a probiotic and nothing else. They want their kids' vitamins and nothing else. Those preferred customers are gold, and it adds to your PV, it adds to your commission. You get a preferred customer bonus every time they order. And I would so much rather have someone who's like, nope, I just want my bag of Slim to be a preferred customer than an ambassador that every time I log in, I'm like, oh, they're, like 70 PV again, like it's a really big deal to have them be a preferred customer then. And not try to over convince people to get a combo if you know they are not going to do it and they're not going to be consistent. You want them to fall in love with that product and then upgrade them 100%. But definitely don't convince people because then you will have to drag them to purchase it every single month. It's just not worth it. So I love having big customer base and then I convert them, when they love their products. So that is my tip as well. Okay, any last minute questions? Uh-oh, am I frozen? Everyone is frozen for me. So thanks you guys for showing up today. We will see you next week.